how can you calculate the difference between two dates in C#. Let's start with a basic example. I'm going to create my start date equals new date time. We're going to use this constructor here that uses the year, month, and day of the month. Let's make this the second. This is our start date, and now let's create the end date, which is going to be again 2024 January, and let's make it the 14th. And now we need to calculate the difference. Let's say we're only interested in the days, and we're going to use the timespan structure, and we simply make it end date minus start date, and now we need to print to the console the number of days that have passed. So the days difference is, and we're going to use the total days, and so let's run the program and see the output. We get the days difference is 12. And now if we are interested in the hours or minutes, we can use the total hours and the total minutes. So let's do that quickly. The hours difference and the minutes difference. So let's run it. And we get the days difference is 12, the hours difference is 288, and the minutes difference is 70,280. Now, you can also use days instead of total days, but you need to be very careful because there is a difference. So let me show you what the difference is. Now, if I run the program as is, let me just comment this out. Okay, let me stop it first. Now let's run it again. And we see the days difference is 12, and the days difference is 12 when using total days and days. But now let's quickly change our start date. We're going to use this constructor here, the one that uses the year, month, day, hour, minute, and seconds. So let's make the hour 13th and the minutes 12 and the seconds, let's make them 45. So now let's see if there's any difference between using total days and days. So let's run the program, and you can see that now when using total days, we get the days difference is 11.449479 and so on, while when we're using days, the days difference is 11. So when you're using the total days, if I put my mouse over total days, you can see that this is expressed in whole and fractional days, and this is a double. On the other hand, days is an integer and represents only the days. That means that there's no fractional representation of the days difference. This is why when we run the program, we get the days difference is 11.4494 when using total days, and it's actually 11 when using days. Okay, if you're not familiar with the time span structure, you should do some reading. It is actually quite important, and it is used often when you're dealing with time interval or duration of time. And if you actually click on the time span, you can see all its properties and methods and so on. So if you have the time, take a look, but it's also used, as you saw in this example, to calculate the difference between the two dates, and you can see that we can use it to calculate the difference in days, minutes, seconds, and actually also nanoseconds and microseconds and milliseconds and so on. So it is quite useful. And there's another note that I want to make. When dealing with dates, you need to be quite careful, especially if you're dealing with different time zones. So let's take a look at next example, which actually takes the time zones into account. Actually, before I get to the time zones, let me just quickly show you that you can also use the subtract method. So let's make the timespan equals end date subtract start date, and this works exactly as before, and if I run the program, I'm going to get the days differences 12 and 12. And again, if we change the hours and the minutes and the seconds, we should see the difference between using days and total days. So let's run it one more time. Actually, I need to stop it first. Let's run it one more time, and you see that we get days difference is 11.44 and so on, and the days difference is 11 when using total days and days. Now let's quickly discuss the time zones. Okay, now instead of the datetime class, I'm going to use the datetime offset class. And we're going to use two different time zones. We're going to use Los Angeles time and Tokyo time. So let me just create them. And we're going to go 2024. Let's make it January 11th. And we can do 1400 and we're going to go new time span, and this is -8. And this is our actually LA time, which is UTC -8. And now let's create the Tokyo time, which is UTC +9, maybe. Let's make this LA time. And we're going to make this Tokyo time, and we're going to make this 9. And now let's see how we can calculate the difference between the two datetime offsets. So let me just do that quickly. And again, we're going to use the time span structure, which is equal the Tokyo time minus the LA time, and let's bring to the console the difference in the hours between the two datetime offsets. So let's make this time difference is time span total hours. And now let's run the program and see the output. And you see the time difference is 17 hours, -17 hours. Now, you need to be careful because when you change the Pacific time to daylight time, the LA time is going to change from -8 to -7. So you need to take this into account and actually be quite careful when you're dealing with time zones. But this is just a quick example how you can use the datetime offset class instead of the datetime class to represent time, including the time zones, and how to again calculate the difference between the two datetime offsets. And again, you can use the subtract method of the time span and calculate the difference with the two dates in C#. And that is all for me for today. Thank you for watching.